Hey, how are you today? Welcome to Talking Games with Mad Cupid. I, of course, am Mad Cupid, and this is the first of many podcasts. This is going to be a podcast about anything gaming, video games, board games, card games, tabletop. If it's gaming, we're going to talk about it here. Our subject today is going to be Borderlands, because with the announcement of crossplay being just around the corner for Borderlands 3, I thought it'd be a good starting topic. Also, I've been spending a lot of time playing a lot of the Borderlands, especially Borderlands 3 since it's come out. But before we get started, I want to talk about the company that this podcast is brought to you by. Nova Energy. Nova Energy drink is an amazing energy drink. It is sugar-free. It is vegan-friendly, keto-friendly, free of common allergens. It only has 5 calories per serving. Each tub has 40 servings. It is so good. It will not make you crash. You will not get jitters. It will not elevate your heart rate. We had a lady that was drinking this when she was pregnant because her doctor approved it. We've had people with heart conditions. Doctor approved it for them to drink because it does not elevate your heart rate. They have an open label. Definitely check them out. Go to novaenergydrink.com and use code Cupid, and you can get 10% off your order. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I have this amazing shaker that you can also get from Nova. I love Nova Energy. I drink it all the time. I definitely recommend this energy drink.
Oh my Nova.
So let's get into Borderlands. Let's go over a little overview. It came out in 2009, the first one did. When I first started seeing this game, they were explaining it as Diablo with guns. And they were talking about it on a show some of you may remember known as X-Play. And I used to watch that show a lot. And this is before, of course, internet shows got bigger and bigger. But anyway, they talked about it there. Magazines talked about it. Everyone was talking about this game as Diablo with guns. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I've been wanting another Diablo game because it has been many years and we still hadn't had Diablo 3. So, when I saw this, it looked really awesome. So I made sure to get this game when it came out. And I was blown away. It was so much fun. The game was just like I said, Diablo with guns. 4 different characters that you could pick from that were vault hunters going to look for great, vast riches. My first character, of course, was Mordecai the Hunter. I really enjoyed playing as him. I've also played through the game as Lilith, and I have tried the other characters. Lilith was the Siren, Roland was a soldier, and Brick was Berserker. And all of them, they're a lot of fun. They're all different, unique playthroughs. And you can build each character differently each time. So you can play the same character through multiple times, but build different trees and different builds for them. And they are amazing. It's a lot of fun. And, a few years later, came out with Borderlands 2. And they went all out on this game. This game was just so awesome. They took everything good about Borderlands and just made it even better with Borderlands 2. They had amazing vault hunters, Axton the Commando, Salvador the Gunzerker. You had Maya, who is my favorite siren, and you had Zero the assassin, who is just awesome. Also, he talks in haikus. That's awesome. Then they also added 2 DLC vault hunters, Gage the Necromancer, which is my favorite of all the vault hunters in any of the games, and Krieg the Psycho. And he is a very popular vault hunter as well. They also even gave him his own DLC in Borderlands 3, which is a very fun DLC. So they had that, and then they released later on, about 2 years later, they released Borderlands the pre-sequel, which, honestly, of the Borderlands games, it is the weakest. Is it a bad game? No. But it is the weakest. But you do learn a lot about one of the best villains in all of video games, Handsome Jack. And Handsome Jack, man, I love Handsome Jack. He is just a great villain. Very evil. But a lot of people agree with what he was doing on Pandora. He wanted to turn Pandora into a utopia, but unfortunately that meant killing pretty much everyone that was already on the planet. But, and of course, spoiler alerts, because there are going to be spoilers. If you have not played these games and you want to, you might not want to tune in on this until you've played them. But if you don't care, or you already know the story, then, or you've already played the games, just listen on. But had Handsome Jack succeeded and gotten rid of all the psychos, I don't think the Calypsos would have had as much success as they did in making the COV. Because there wouldn't have been no psychos to do that. It would have just been them. And knowing Handsome Jack, he probably would have found some way to capture them and harness their power. Kind of like he did with his own daughter Angel and then Lilith. But going back to the pre-sequel, that really shows you how Jack became Handsome Jack. Also, they had some pretty good Vault Hunters. I haven't played with all these yet, and I really need to. I have not played as Wilhelm, which I have seen him played. When I played through the game the first time, I played with my buddy, and he used Wilhelm, and I used Claptrap, which I had a lot of fun with Claptrap. A lot of people say, oh, don't use Claptrap, blah. Claptrap's a lot of fun. Also, when you're on Elpis, he doesn't need to breathe, so you don't need the oxygen. And so that's actually pretty good when you first start out, because if you're one of the human characters, you don't get the O2 system right off the bat, and you kind of can't breathe. So, breathing's actually very important. Well, so I was Claptrap. I built up Claptrap to be more of a team-oriented build, healing and support and everything. But Wilhelm, he seemed really good. I haven't used Niche either, and I haven't used the Baroness Aurelia Hammerlock. I have beat it with the Claptrap and Athena. And Athena's a lot of fun. I did a full Siren run of every game. Like, I played the Sirens in all the games in chronological order. Well, yeah, chronological timeline order, everything. Including I did play Tales of the Borderlands, which I'll get into that a little bit. We won't focus on that one too much because that is a completely different style of game. But I used that. I used Athena. I've even used Timothy, which is, in this, he's called Jack because he can't say his name or he'll die. The doppelganger. He was paid to be one of Jack's doppelgangers, and he actually shows up later in one of the Borderlands 3 DLCs, which is awesome because he has a really good action skill. But, and it's a short game, but I will say, in the pre-sequel, the final boss for that vault, is probably one of the toughest. In Borderlands 1, the Destroyer just sat there, and you just hide and shoot him. In Borderlands 2, the Warrior was a little tougher, but as long as you hit him in the soft underbelly, you're going to take him out pretty quick. Borderlands 3, Tyrene the Destroyer, it was challenging, but I still feel that the pre-sequel had the toughest boss, because multiple forms, and if you die, you pretty much have to start all over. So when my buddy and I were playing, if one of us died, we made sure the other one stayed alive and dodged as much as they could while the other one ran back in to make sure that we didn't have to start over. But, each game has their DLCs, and like I said, the game's a lot of fun, and all of them are, and I will also say, you do want to play all of the Borderlands games, including Tales from the Borderlands. It is a Telltale game, so it's a point-click adventure, but you do learn a lot of story because it talks about a thing called the Gortys Project. It focuses a lot on Reese and another character, Fiona. You'll also meet Vaughn for the first time, and if you played Borderlands 3 but you haven't played Tales from the Borderlands, you're going to see how Vaughn started. And I think Vaughn's a pretty awesome character. But there are many awesome characters, NPCs. My favorite, Tiny Tina. Who doesn't love Tiny Tina? Also, Dr. Zed. Done a cosplay of him. Love Dr. Zed. Missed him in Borderlands 3, but hopefully they bring him in very soon. I mean, you'll hear his voice sometimes, but they did say that the voice actor was sick when they were making the game, so they wanted to actually wait until he was better. But hopefully they get a DLC or something, because they are packing Borderlands 3 with tons and tons of content, which that is the one thing I really, really love about Borderlands 3, and why I keep going back to play it, because I can play that for so many hours because of how much content they're putting into that game. And so you definitely want to play them all, get the lore, get the story, and also there is a DLC they released. It should still be available, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, which was released the same year that Borderlands 3 came out, but it came out before Borderlands 3 and they were giving it away for free. It actually takes place after Tales from the Borderlands, because the timeline goes Borderlands pre-sequel, Borderlands 2, Tales from the Borderlands, then that DLC, Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, and then Borderlands 3. And so you definitely want to play all that. You honestly want to play Tales from the Borderlands before you do that DLC, because there are spoilers if you don't play Tales from the Borderlands. So definitely want to do that. But anyway, the main thing about the characters, they are vault hunters, treasure hunters, whatever you want to call them. They are going after these vaults for vast riches. Well, at Borderlands 1, you're dealing with the Atlas Corporation and another siren named Commandant Steele. So, unfortunately, she dies, and she's also a siren. And when a siren dies, their powers are passed on. I'm not sure who got her powers, but we'll probably eventually find out. Lilith was a siren. I think there's like 6 sirens at one point. There can only be 6 sirens, and I believe, Lilith is one, Maya. You have Amara, which is the siren from Borderlands 3. You have Tyrene, and I know Tyrene and Troy, well, technically, those two are twins, because he was a conjoined twin, so he's kind of leeches off his sister in order to stay alive, because if he doesn't, he'll die. So she keeps him alive, but she has some of the powers. Angel, which is the siren you meet in Borderlands 2, and you do meet her in Borderlands 1 as well. Again, spoiler, she's the little thing, that the voice in your head that is guiding you through everything. And so that's another one. And I'm not sure. So that's, Commandant Steele, Lilith, Maya, Amara, Tyrene. Oh, and what was her name? Drawing a blank. Leda? Oh, Leda. It was Typhon's wife. She was also another siren. So that's 6 sirens. So, because what had happened, and you can find this out in lore, the siren who had Tyrene's power, it was the leeching power, she tried to seal herself in one of the vaults so that her power would not get out. Well, when Typhon found the vault on Necrotafeo, him and Leda, his wife, consummated their marriage, and, well, 9 months later, Tyrene and Troy were born. And because they were in that vault, that Guardian, actually it wasn't the Guardian, it was an Iridian, who was a siren, sealed herself in. That power's passed to them, and, well, and if you played the game, you know what she does. So, yeah, that kind of messed that up there. But, wouldn't have a Borderlands 3 without it. So, again, it's mainly they're all hunting treasure. Each villain has their own motives. Everybody wants power and money and riches, and then you got Jack, who is he wants power, and he's also very angry because he he wants revenge after what happened to him on Elpis with that vault. And but yeah, he definitely is such an amazing villain. I could talk about him a lot, and there will be other podcasts where we do talk about him and how he would fare against other villains. Like I might bring up one, Kefka from Final Fantasy VI. Him and Handsome Jack have a bit in common because Kefka poisoned a kingdom for the fun of it. He destroyed the world just so he can have power, pretty much. Put it in ruin. These guys, they're megalomaniacs. They just want power and they want to be known for that power, and they want to intimidate people, and that's how they'll do it. So, but with all that, I do, I lately I have been playing of the Borderlands. I play Borderlands 3 the most because it just is slam packed with content, and I love it so much. But I do know some people who could not get through Borderlands 3 because they just couldn't stand the Calypsos. And honestly, the Calypsos are kind of annoying. I kind of like Troy better than Tyreen. He was a little less annoying. But as I explained to someone, Troy and Tyreen, the only people they knew was their mom and their dad, Typhon. And when they finally left Necrodefeo, they really didn't know how to talk to people, so they're very socially awkward. I mean, they never really knew anyone except for their mom and their dad and each other. So pretty much all they did was meet all the psychos, and they learned how to speak their language, and the psychos started worshiping them. And then they united every bandit clan, and rather than the bandits killing each other, they just worked together and killed everyone else, which, was really bad for the other residents of Pandora, including Lilith and everyone else, Vaughn and Ellie and Moxie and so on and so forth. The B team, you got Brick and Mordecai and Tina and I'm not sure where Krieg was when it first started out, but he's around. And so yeah, they were that's all they were able to do is they're socially awkward, so their annoyingness is kind of part of them. And but of course, you got other annoying characters like Ava, but they could have made you like Ava, but it is what it is. I mean, she's not completely awful. She's just a young kid. Maybe in Borderlands 4, she'll be a bit more mature. And also, but there was also another character that I really dislike, and that was Pickle. Pickle, he's not a very big character in Borderlands, the pre-sequel, but God, he's annoying. I mean, he's, again, not a bad person. It's just, God, can't stand him. I don't know why, I just can't stand him. Maybe it's his voice. But, like I said, this series is amazing, and one thing I will say, when people ask what game is the best, and honestly, I've, since 3 has come out, I've bounced back and forth between 2 and 3. And I've gone, what makes the one better than the other? Well, in Borderlands 3, and I'll start with that one, they have put so much content, so many more guns. They're not doing extra vault hunters, but they have added extra skill trees. And that is really, really awesome. I love the extra ability to make new builds for each character. Like, they're really focusing to make these 4 vault hunters awesome. And like I said, game's awesome. It's lots of fun to play. They've added some good mechanics, and it it is just such a fun game to play. I love it. But ultimately, I think the best Borderlands so far ever made is Borderlands 2, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. Borderlands 2, again, amazing characters, lots of guns, really awesome story, and really awesome characters, especially the villain, Handsome Jack. Handsome Jack is an amazing villain, like I've said already. He just, I love hearing him and seeing what he does next because he is just, freaking awesome. And very evil. And I think also the story in Borderlands 2 is a lot better. Borderlands 3, I feel in a lot of aspects they dropped the ball on some stuff with the story. I just feel like there were certain parts that were very rushed. Now, there are certain parts that are amazing. Like, honestly, when you go to Eden 6 and you meet Wainwright Jacobs and you see the relationship develop between him and Alistair Hammerlock. And then they made a DLC about their wedding, and Gage was the wedding planner. And I really, really love that DLC. It is my second favorite DLC. The best DLC is Bounty of Blood. And of all the DLCs, it had really no nostalgia to it. Like, the Handsome Jackpot had Handsome Jack. That you had that nostalgia. And then you also saw Timothy, the doppelganger. Guns, Love, and Tentacles had Gage and Deathtrap, which, again, that's amazing. And I also love Mancubus. He was a freaking awesome character. And you would think he's evil, and I wouldn't say he's good, but he's not bad. He may have some evilness in him, but he's ultimately, I think, a good guy. When Eleanor and pretty much the cult of Githian came in, he was just like, no, your power doesn't work here. And when they came there, they realized that he was absolutely right. And I really like him. He's an awesome character. Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic Flustercluck. That's another one with some nostalgia in it. And that's a really good one as well. Just getting to see what truly happened to Krieg and why Krieg is the way he is. That was awesome. But Bounty of Blood, best DLC. It's just straight up new story. Love the narration. It's a Western theme on Gehenna. And Rose the Butcher is an amazing villain. Like, if you don't really like Troy and Tyrene, beat it and go play that. Then you meet Rose the Butcher. She's freaking awesome. And also, though, if you haven't played it, sorry, spoiler. Like I said earlier, this is going to be full of spoilers, but I love Rose the Butcher. I think she was such a good villain. Of the DLC, she's probably the best. And then you go to, but Psycho Krieg had some really good villains as well, and the Psycho Reaver was rough. Like, honestly, in the DLCs and not including Season 2, this is just Season 1. Like, the raid bosses are a bit stronger than the Psycho Reaver. But Psycho Reaver's a lot tougher than Tyrene, the Destroyer. So, but, like I said, I'm very excited. Going back to the original reason I wanted to do this podcast, for, the first subject I wanted to be Borderlands 3. Well, not just Borderlands 3, Borderlands as a whole. It's because Borderlands 3 is coming out with crossplay finally. They said they were going to do it when it launched. It just didn't work out. But I have been waiting patiently, and I can't wait to be able to play with my friends on console. For me, I prefer PC. I don't hate on anyone who plays on console because I have consoles I play on console. I originally started playing Borderlands on the Xbox 360. So, and I played it online on Xbox Live, and I've also played on the PlayStation as well. So, I mean, don't discriminate. I play on anything. But I honestly prefer PC. So, but I have friends that prefer console, so it would be nice to be able to get that crossplay, be able to play, and it would be even better if they did it with Borderlands 2, which I know a game that old they're not going to do with, but they did make a new DLC for it about, let's see, when did 2019 they made a new DLC for this game that came out in 2012. So that's how good this game was. People were still playing it. It just shows how good the Borderlands series is. Like I said, highs and lows, really good games, some mediocre, but ultimately you play them all, you're going to have a lot of fun. I would definitely play in all the games, including Tales from the Borderlands, because if you like the lore, it'll fill in some holes for the story, especially when you're getting into Borderlands 3 and the Commander Lilith and Fight for Sanctuary DLC. You'll know a lot more what's going on. So definitely recommend playing all these. You can play them in timeline order, as in, Borderlands, then the pre-sequel 2, Tales, and 3, or you can play them in release order like I did. You play, almost. I played Borderlands 2, then the pre-sequel, then I watched someone else play Tales from the Borderlands. I didn't play it myself until later, but I did know the story going into the Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary DLC and Borderlands 3, so I knew who Reese was, I knew who Vaughn was, I knew certain characters were gone, I knew certain things had happened, so, But definitely go through, play it, all fun. If you haven't, that is, but with all my spoilers, you probably, people who haven't played it, who wanted to play, have tuned out, but if you didn't tune out, and you definitely want, and you think you'd like to play this game, definitely go through and play it. Borderlands even has a HD remastered version that's out, which I highly recommend. It has the golden keys. It added a few extra bells and whistles. I mean, it's still the same game, but it just gives you the golden keys, and you're able to get some really, really good loot. And these games are looter shooters, and they pretty much coined that term when they started coming out, and they have spawned other games. There probably may have been other games before that, but they're really, and of course there was like Diablo and Darkstone and Torchlight, games like that, but Diablo with guns is Borderlands. That's what Borderlands is. Diablo with guns. And it is an amazing, amazing game. Well, I do appreciate you tuning in to this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll have links below in the description for Nova Energy. Definitely go check that out. You get 10% off using code Cupid, which this podcast, again, is brought to you by Nova Energy. It's an amazing energy drink, sugar-free, vegan-friendly, keto-friendly, free of common allergens, open label, will not make you crash. It is just simply amazing, and it is so good. There's 3 flavors right now. Celestial Punch, my favorite, Strawberry Moon, and Galactic Grape. They're working on more flavors, but each flavor is amazing. It's so smooth. It's refreshing. You will love it. So definitely go check it out. NovaEnergyDrink.com. Use code Cupid and get 10% off. And again, thank you guys so, so much for tuning in. Again, on YouTube, I'll have links below. I do stream on Twitch. Currently going to be streaming Mass Effect and other RPGs, and of course Borderlands 3, because I try and stream that as much as possible because I love playing that, especially on stream with Twitch, given the interaction of you being able to win loot and getting to take over the badasses and filling the pinatas with stuff. That I do like that Twitch and Borderlands have added that for Borderlands 3, the interaction for viewers. And which, again, amazing. Also, check out my socials. I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and also check out, I do have a Patreon. That's if you do want to support in other ways, that is a good way to do it. You can get in, you can get early access to stuff, you can make fan requests for videos I can make, for podcast topics and everything. I do appreciate you guys being here, listening in, or watching on YouTube. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope that you tune into my next episode. If you want to also join my Discord, that is another place you can do it. If you're on YouTube, I'll have the link to that below. And definitely check out my YouTube, Mad Cupid Gaming on YouTube, just Mad Cupid on Twitch, Mad Cupid 6 on Twitter, Mad Cupid 6 on Instagram, just Mad Cupid on TikTok. And also, everything, all the links will be below in the YouTube description. Definitely check it out. I hope to see you again. Come by. I do like to also on Twitch, I do like to play with viewers. So if you do like Borderlands, and I'm playing Borderlands, if you have it on PC, you can jump right in with me. If you have it on console and they get that crossplay ready, then you can play with me then as well. Well, I hope that you enjoy this podcast and take care, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.